This is Tools for Handling Adversity, Lesson 1, Developing Awareness. In this video, we're going to talk about how to recognize your inner signal lights. So let's start by talking about what are our inner signal lights. Our inner signal lights are just an analogy that we like to use to describe our present moment mental state. So think of a traffic light. You're coming up to an intersection and you see green. Obviously, we want to keep going. When you come to the intersection, you see yellow. Okay, at this point, this is when you have to make a decision. You either have to speed yourself up or slow down to get through the intersection in time. Typically, for our analogy, when we get to yellow light, we want to slow things down. And then lastly, you have red. Okay, red, when we get to a red light, obviously we stop until we get ourselves back to green. Okay, but the goal here is to stay green. All right, anytime you're driving and you just keep hitting green light after green light after green light, things are coming easy. We're getting to our destination as fast as possible. Everyone's feeling good, feeling happy. So green lights are good. And then when we get to a yellow or red, obviously we want to learn how to use a routine that gets us back to green as fast as we can. So let's go through what each one of these are, each one of these colors are, so that way we know how to use them. So first, let's talk about green lights. So for green lights, the game comes easy. We feel confident. We're super focused on the task at hand. We feel like we're on our game and we have positive self-talk. Okay, we perform at our best when we're in green light. Think back to any peak time you're at peak performance or you're pitching super well, you were probably in green light. A lot of times guys will describe it as they weren't really thinking about anything. Um, they were super just focused on getting outs. They weren't distracted by anything. They weren't frustrated. And that's when they were performing their best. And so if you're in green, don't change anything. We just want to keep right on going. Next, we have yellow light. When we get to yellow light, things are starting to speed up on us a little bit. Maybe we're starting to get a little nervous, rattled. You might start to hear some negative self-talk of, I suck, or I can't throw strikes, or I can't do this. But we're starting to get frustrated, and that frustration can come from lots of things. Maybe we're mad at an umpire for squeezing us. Maybe we're frustrated with our poor performance. We made a bad pitch, or we missed a spot, or maybe someone made an error behind us, or that there's chatter from the dugout that's starting to get under our skin. But this is when that initial doubt starts to creep in when things aren't going well. And when we do get to a yellow light, we need to learn how to pump the brakes and slow down, or we might get into a crash. And so this is when we need to start to come up with some sort of routine that gets us back to our green light mental state as quickly as possible. Okay, so we haven't completely gone off the rails yet in a yellow light, but we're starting to find a little bit of frustration, maybe a little bit of doubt starting to creep in. And then finally, we have red light. Red light is when things are really starting to go off the rails. The game feels extremely fast. We have high amounts of fear and tension. Usually, when we're in a red light, things just get worse and worse and worse. It's a vicious cycle that has more errors, more anger, more negative reactions. Guys are throwing things, throwing equipment. There's very loud, audible cursing, things like this. And when we're in red light, if things haven't gone completely off the rails and coach hasn't taken us out of the game yet, we have to stop and we have to use a routine to get ourselves back to green as quickly as possible. Okay, once we're in red light, things have gotten pretty serious from a mental standpoint. And so it's really important that we go to our routine to get ourselves back to green. So now that we know what signal lights are and what their definitions are, um, what I'll have you do is complete the Google form that I sent out, and then submit it back to me, and we will go over it.